Captain Han-Woo stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching the stars drift past the main viewing screen. The ship hummed quietly around him as it moved through the empty space between solar systems. Everything seemed peaceful, but Han-Woo knew that peace never lasted long in the Outer Rim territories. At 35 years old, Han-Woo had already earned a reputation throughout the human fleet. Other captains called him crazy. Some called him brilliant. Most agreed he was both. He had a way of looking at problems that no one else could see. Where others saw certain defeat, Han-Woo found opportunities. The bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. Chief Tactical Officer Kim Nari studied her screens with sharp eyes. She was 28 and had served with Han-Woo for 3 years. In that time, she had learned to trust his unusual methods, even when they seemed impossible. "Captain," Kim Nari said, turning from her console, "long-range sensors are picking up some strange readings. Very faint, but definitely artificial." Han-Woo walked over to her station. "Show me." The tactical display lit up with dozens of small dots moving in formation. They were still far away, maybe 2 days' travel at normal speed, but there were so many of them that the sensors could barely count them all. "How many?" Han-Woo asked. Kim Nari checked her readings again. "At least 200 contacts, sir. Maybe more. They're moving in perfect formation toward human space." From the engineering station, Park Jin looked up from his work. The chief engineer was a quiet man in his 40s who could fix anything that broke on the ship. He had worked on starships for 20 years and had never seen anything like this. 200 ships, Park Jin said slowly. "That's bigger than our entire home fleet." At the communications station, Lee Soo was trying to get a clearer reading on the unknown vessels. She was young, only 25, but she had excellent instincts for reading sensor data and intercepting alien transmissions. "Sir," Lee Soo said, "I'm picking up some communication signals from the unknown fleet. The language is completely alien. I've never heard anything like it before." Navigation specialist Choi Min turned from her console. She was 32 and knew the star charts better than anyone else in the fleet. Her job was to plot courses through dangerous space, and right now she was very worried about what she was seeing. "Captain," Choi Min said, "based on their current heading and speed, they'll reach the outer human colonies in less than a week. And sir, they're not trying to hide. They're broadcasting their position like they want us to know they're coming." Wu studied the tactical display for a long moment. 200 unknown ships heading straight for human territory. Ships that were bigger than anything humanity had ever built. An alien fleet that wasn't trying to sneak up on them. "This isn't a raid," Han-Woo said quietly. "This is an invasion." Kim Nari nodded grimly. "Should I send a message to Earth Command?" "Do it," Han-Woo said. "Priority 1, full military alert." As Lee Soo began transmitting the warning message, Han-Woo thought about what this meant. Humanity had been exploring space for 50 years. They had found empty worlds and ancient ruins. They had discovered new resources and built colonies on distant planets. But they had never encountered a living alien civilization. Now it looked like the aliens had found them first. The reply from Earth Command came back 6 hours later. Admiral Chen's face appeared on the main screen, looking tired and worried. Behind him, Han-Woo could see the busy command center of Earth's military headquarters. "Captain Han-Woo," Admiral Chen said, "we've confirmed your sensor readings with our deep space monitoring stations. The alien fleet is massive and heavily armed. Every available ship is being recalled to form a defensive line around Earth and the core worlds." Han-Woo waited for his orders. He expected to be told to return to Earth immediately. However, Admiral Chen continued, "Your ship has a different mission. The Defiance is our fastest and most maneuverable vessel. We need you to stay in the outer rim and conduct reconnaissance. Get as close as you can to that alien fleet. Find out what they want and what they're capable of. But Captain, do not engage them directly. Your job is to observe and report." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. Kim Nari was the first to speak. "Reconnaissance against 200 alien warships," she said. "Just us." "Sounds about right," Han-Woo said with a slight smile. "When have we ever had easy missions?" Park Jin shook his head. Captain, those ships are huge. Our sensors show they're at least twice the size of our heavy cruisers. If they have weapons to match that size, we won't last 30 seconds in a direct fight. Then we won't fight them directly, Hanwoo said. We'll be smart about it. Over. The next 2 days, the Defiance moved closer to the alien fleet. Long-range sensors provided more details about the mysterious ships. They were indeed massive, with sleek designs that looked nothing like human vessels. Their hulls seemed to be made of some kind of dark metal that absorbed sensor beams. Lee Su worked around the clock trying to decode their communications. She discovered that the aliens called themselves the Vorthak Empire. Their transmissions spoke of conquest and expansion. They referred to humans as primitive creatures that needed to be eliminated or enslaved. They're not coming to talk, Lee Su reported. They're coming to take our worlds. Choi Min plotted the alien fleet's course and confirmed their worst fears. The Vorthak ships would reach the first human colonies in 5 days. Earth's defensive fleet was still assembling and wouldn't be ready in time. We need to slow them down somehow, Kim Nari said. Han Wu studied the star charts, looking for anything they could use. The alien fleet was moving through open space with no obstacles in their path. But about 1 day ahead of them was an asteroid field left over from an ancient planetary collision. Choi Min, Han Wu said, plot a course through that asteroid field. Maximum stealth approach. Sir, Park Jin said. If we get too close to that fleet, they'll detect us for sure. Han Wu smiled. It was the same smile his crew had learned to recognize over the years. It meant their captain had an idea that was either brilliant or completely insane. Maybe, Han Wu said. But first I want to see exactly what we're up against. And I have a feeling these Vorthak have never dealt with humans before. They don't know what we're capable of when we're cornered. The Defiance changed course toward the asteroid field. Behind them, the massive Vorthak fleet continued its steady advance toward human space. 200 alien warships against 1 human cruiser with a crew of 80. The odds were impossible. Han Wu wouldn't have it any other way. The Defiance moved silently through the asteroid field, its engines running at minimum power. Captain Han Wu stood behind Kim Nari's tactical station, watching the sensor displays show the approaching Vorthak fleet. The alien ships were enormous, each one dwarfing the largest human vessels. 2 kilometers long, Kim Nari whispered, reading the sensor data. Some of them are even bigger. How did they build ships that massive? Through the bridge speakers, they could hear fragments of Vorthak, communications that Lee Su had managed to decode. The alien voices were harsh and mechanical, speaking in short, clipped phrases about battle formations and target priorities. Admiral Veltar's flagship led the fleet from the center of the formation. It was a massive dreadnought 3 kilometers long, bristling with weapon systems that the human sensors couldn't fully analyze. The ship moved with surprising grace for something so large, its dark hull seeming to absorb the light from nearby stars. Captain, Lee Su said from her station, I'm picking up more transmissions. The aliens are talking about human defensive positions. They know exactly where our colonies are. They've been watching us for a long time. Han Wu felt a chill run down his spine. Humanity had thought they were alone in the galaxy. Now they discovered not only were there other intelligent species, but those species had been studying human movements and preparing for war. The first contact between the 2 fleets happened 3 days later at the edge of the Kepler system. Earth's defensive fleet had assembled there, waiting for the alien invaders. Admiral Martinez commanded 47 human warships, the largest fleet humanity had ever gathered in one place. Han Wu watched from his hiding place among the asteroids. As the 2 forces met, the human ships formed a defensive line, their weapons powered up and shields at maximum strength. They looked tiny compared to the alien vessels approaching them. Admiral Veltar didn't even slow down. His fleet maintained perfect formation as they advanced toward the human line. When they came within weapons range, the aliens opened fire without any attempt at communication. The Vorthak weapons were unlike anything humans had ever seen. Instead of projectiles or energy beams, they fired streams of superheated plasma that cut through space like liquid fire. The first human ship to be hit, the cruiser Shanghai, simply vanished in a ball of white-hot energy. Dear God, Park Jin whispered from his engineering station. Their weapons just vaporized an entire cruiser. The human fleet returned fire, launching missiles and energy beams at the alien ships. Most of the attacks bounced harmlessly off energy shields that flickered around each Vorthak vessel. The few hits that got through barely scratched the dark alien hulls. Kim Nari studied her tactical display with growing horror. "Captain, the human weapons aren't working. Their shields are deflecting almost everything, and their armor is too thick for our guns to penetrate." The battle became a massacre. Vorthak plasma cannons tore through human ships one after another. The destroyer Yamato broke in half. The battleship New York exploded when its reactor was hit. Admiral Martinez's flagship tried to ram one of the alien vessels. But the Vorthak ship's shields absorbed the impact and then vaporized the human ship with a point-blank plasma burst. Within 30 minutes, the entire human defensive fleet was destroyed. 47 ships and over 20,000 crew members gone. The Vorthak fleet didn't even slow down. They continued their advance toward the inner human colonies, as if nothing had happened. Han Wu's crew sat in stunned silence, watching the debris field that had once been humanity's greatest fleet. The tactical displays showed the alien formation continuing its steady progress toward Earth. "What do we do now?" Choi Min asked quietly. Before Han Wu could answer, Li Su's communications console lit up with an incoming transmission. "Admiral." Veltar's image appeared on the screen, his face reptilian and cold. He wore elaborate armor covered in symbols that probably indicated his rank and achievements. "Humans," the alien commander said in perfect English. "You have witnessed the power of the Vorthak Empire. Your primitive weapons cannot harm our ships. Your tactics are simple and predictable. Surrender now, and some of you may be allowed to live as slaves. Continue to resist and your entire species will be eliminated." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in deadly quiet. Han Wu realized that the aliens had been studying humanity for years, learning their language and watching their military capabilities. This wasn't just an invasion, it was an extermination. "Captain," Kim Nari said, "we should retreat. Get back to Earth and warn the colonies. Maybe if we evacuate the outer worlds, we can save some people." Han Wu didn't respond immediately. He was studying the tactical display, watching the Vorthak fleet's movement patterns. The alien ships moved in perfect synchronization, maintaining exact distances from each other and following precise formation protocols. "Look at how they move," Han Wu said finally. "Every ship stays in exactly the same position relative to the others. When they turn, they all turn together at exactly the same time." Park Jin looked at the display. "So they're well-disciplined. That's not exactly helpful for us." "Maybe it is," Han Wu said. "Kim Nari, show me the sensor readings from their weapons firing patterns." Kim Nari brought up the data from the battle. The Vorthak ships had fired in sequence, each vessel shooting at predetermined targets in a carefully coordinated pattern. Even when human ships tried to break formation and attack from unexpected angles, the aliens had responded with the same methodical precision. "They're not reacting to what we do," Han Wu realized. "They're following a battle plan that was programmed before the fight even started." Li Su looked up from her console. "Captain, I've been analyzing their communications during the battle. The individual ships weren't talking to each other very much. Most of the orders came from the flagship and they were very simple commands." "Like what?" Han Wu asked. "Formation adjustments, target assignments, movement orders. Nothing creative or tactical. It was more like a computer program running than actual battle commands." Han Wu began to pace the bridge, his mind working through the implications. The Vorthak had superior technology and overwhelming numbers, but they fought like machines following a preset program. They had defeated the human fleet easily because human tactics were predictable and straightforward. But what if someone fought them in a way that wasn't predictable? Choi Min interrupted his thoughts. "Captain, long-range sensors show the alien fleet will reach the Centauri colonies in 18 hours. After that, they'll be at Earth in 4 days." Han Wu stopped pacing and looked at his crew. They were scared, and they had every right to be. Humanity was facing extinction, and they were the only human ship in position to do anything about it. "We're not running away," Han Wu said, "and we're not surrendering." "Sir," Park Jin said. With respect, we're one ship against 200. Even if our weapons could hurt them, the odds are impossible. Han Wu smiled grimly. The odds were impossible for David too when he faced Goliath. But David won because he didn't fight the way Goliath expected him to. Kim Nari understood first. You want to use guerrilla tactics, hit-and-run attacks. Exactly, Han Wu said. The Vorthak have never fought humans before. They don't know what we're capable of when we're desperate. They expect us to line up our ships and trade shots like, gentlemen, we're going to show them that humans don't fight fair when our survival is at stake. The captain turned to his navigation officer. Choi Min, plot a course that will put us ahead of their fleet. I want to be waiting for them when they reach the next system. What are we going to do, she asked. We're going to teach these aliens that humans are full of surprises, Han Wu said. And maybe, if we're very lucky and very clever, we'll find a way to save our species. The Defiance changed course, leaving the asteroid field behind. Ahead of them, the Vorthak fleet continued its relentless advance toward human space, confident in their superior power. They had no idea what was coming for them. The Defiance waited in the shadow of a massive asteroid, its engines completely shut down. Captain Han Wu and his crew had been drifting silently for 6 hours, watching the Vorthak fleet approach their position. The alien ships moved in their perfect formation, unaware that a single human vessel was about to change everything. Contact in 30 minutes, Choi Min whispered from her navigation station. 3 Vorthak destroyers are breaking off from the main fleet to investigate this asteroid field, Han Wu nodded. This was exactly what he had hoped for. The alien fleet was so large that they sent small groups to check every possible hiding spot along their route. It was thorough, but it also meant splitting their forces. Park Jin had spent the last 2 days making modifications to their ship. The engineer had found a way to mask their energy signature by routing power through the asteroid's mineral deposits. To alien sensors, the Defiance looked like just another piece of space rock. Ready, Captain, Park Jin said quietly. But we'll only have one shot at this. Once we fire up the engines, they'll know exactly where we are. Kim Nari studied her tactical display. The 3 Vorthak destroyers were moving slowly through the asteroid field, scanning each large rock with their powerful sensors. Each destroyer was still twice the size of the Defiance, but 3 ships were much better odds than 200. They're following standard search patterns, Kim Nari observed. Very methodical, very predictable. The lead Vorthak destroyer moved closer to their hiding spot. Through the main viewer, they could see the dark alien hull sliding past, its surface covered in strange symbols and weapon ports. The ship was beautiful in a deadly way, but Han Wu felt no admiration for it. Now, Han Wu said quietly. The Defiance burst from its hiding spot like a predator attacking prey. Park Jin had modified their engines to provide maximum acceleration in short bursts. The human ship shot out from behind the asteroid at incredible speed, catching the Vorthak destroyers completely by surprise. Kim Nari had already targeted the lead destroyer's engine section. Human weapons might not be able to penetrate Vorthak. Shields from long range, but at point-blank distance, concentrated fire could overwhelm their defenses. The Defiance's guns opened fire as they flew past the first destroyer. Energy beams and missile strikes hit the alien ship's rear section in a concentrated barrage. The Vorthak shields flared and collapsed under the intense attack. Secondary explosions rippled along the destroyer's hull as their weapons found vital systems. Before the other 2 destroyers could react, the Defiance was already behind another asteroid, using the massive rock as cover. The damaged Vorthak ship spun helplessly, leaking atmosphere and debris. First target neutralized, Kim Nari reported. The other 2 are trying to get a lock on us. Han Wu smiled grimly. Let's not give them the chance. Choi Min, take us through the asteroid field, maximum evasion pattern. The chase that followed was unlike anything in military history. The Defiance darted between asteroids like a fish, swimming through coral, using the massive rocks to break sensor locks and avoid incoming fire. The 2 remaining Vorthak destroyers were larger and more powerful, but they couldn't match the human ship's agility in the confined space. Li Su monitored alien communications as the battle continued. Captain, they're calling for reinforcements. The main fleet is sending more ships. How long do we have? Han Wu asked. Maybe 20 minutes before the first reinforcements arrive. That was enough time. Han Wu had learned something important about Vorthak tactics during the previous battle. When their ships were damaged or threatened, they followed standard procedures. They called for help, formed defensive positions, and waited for support to arrive. Humans would have been creative, trying different approaches and adapting to the situation. The Vorthak did exactly what their training told them to do. Kim Nari, can you get a targeting solution on the second destroyer? Working on it, Captain. They're staying behind cover, but if we can force them to move... Han Wu had an idea. Li Su, can you broadcast a fake distress signal on Vorthak frequencies? I think so, sir. What kind of message? Make it sound like we're badly damaged and requesting immediate assistance. Use the voice patterns from their previous communications. Li Su worked quickly at her console. Within minutes, she had created a convincing fake distress call using samples of Vorthak speech patterns. The message claimed that human reinforcements were approaching and requested immediate support. The effect was immediate. Both remaining destroyers broke cover and moved toward what they thought was a damaged friendly ship. Instead, they found the Defiance waiting for them with all weapons ready. The second destroyer died in a barrage of concentrated fire. The third tried to retreat, but Choi Min had anticipated their escape route. The Defiance was waiting behind. Another asteroid, and Kim Nari's perfectly aimed shots crippled the alien ship's engines. 3 down, Kim Nari said with satisfaction. But here come their friends. Long-range sensors showed 6 more Vorthak ships approaching fast. Han Wu knew. It was time to leave, but first he wanted to send a message. Li Su, open a channel to the damaged ships. The face of a Vorthak officer appeared on the main screen. The alien looked shocked and angry, clearly unable to understand how primitive humans had defeated advanced Vorthak destroyers. This is Captain Han Wu of the human ship Defiance, Han Wu said calmly. Tell Admiral Veltar that humans don't surrender, and tell him that this is just the beginning. The transmission ended, and Choi Min guided the Defiance out of the asteroid field at maximum speed. Behind them, the 6 Vorthak reinforcement ships found only wreckage and disabled vessels. The second attack came 3 days later in the Beta Centauri system. This time, Han Wu used the system's gas giant and its moons as cover. The Defiance appeared to be a mining ship conducting routine operations near the planet's rings. When a Vorthak squadron approached to investigate, they found themselves flying through a cloud of metallic debris that Park Jin had released from their cargo holds. The metal particles interfered with alien sensors and targeting systems, turning their advanced technology against them. In the confusion, the Defiance destroyed 2 more alien ships before vanishing into the planet's upper atmosphere. The thick gas clouds made sensor tracking impossible, and by the time the surviving Vorthak ships figured out what had happened, the human ship was long gone. Admiral Veltar was furious. His reports back to the Vorthak Empire spoke of a ghost ship that appeared from nowhere, struck without warning, and disappeared before his forces could respond. The single human vessel was making his mighty fleet look foolish. The third victory came when Han Wu realized that Vorthak communication frequencies interfered with their own sensor systems. Li Su discovered this by accident while trying to decode their messages. When she broadcast on certain frequencies, nearby Vorthak ships temporarily lost sensor contact with each other. Han Wu used this knowledge to turn 2 Vorthak patrol groups against each other. By broadcasting fake emergency signals, he convinced each group that the other was actually human ships in disguise. The result was a brief but devastating battle between confused alien forces. Brilliant, Kim Nari said as they watched the alien ships destroy each other. They're so disciplined that they can't adapt when something unexpected happens. Each small victory taught Han Wu more about his enemy. The Vorthak were incredibly advanced, but they were also rigid in their thinking. They had conquered other species by using overwhelming force and superior technology. They had never faced an enemy that refused to fight by conventional rules. More importantly, each attack forced Admiral Veltar to divide his fleet. Ships had to be sent to investigate attacks, hunt for the ghost ship, and escort damaged vessels back to safety. The perfect formation that had destroyed the human defensive fleet was slowly breaking apart. After 2 weeks of guerrilla warfare, the Vorthak fleet had lost 37 ships to a single human cruiser. The losses weren't enough to seriously damage their military strength, but they were enough to change Admiral Veltar's tactics. The alien commander began keeping his ships in smaller, more flexible groups. He posted guards around important targets and sent out hunter-killer teams specifically designed to find and destroy the Defiance. "He's learning," Hanwoo admitted to his crew during a brief rest period. "The Admiral is starting to adapt to our tactics." "So what do we do now?" Park Jin asked. Hanwoo studied the star charts that Choi Min had spread across the navigation table. The Vorthak fleet was still advancing toward Earth, but more slowly now. They were being careful, checking every system thoroughly before moving on. "Now we get ready for the real battle," Hanwoo said. "We've been testing them, learning their weaknesses. It's time to use that knowledge for something bigger." Kim Nari looked at the tactical displays showing the enemy fleet's current position. Even after all their victories, the humans still faced impossible odds. The Vorthak still had over 160 ships, each one capable of destroying the Defiance in direct combat. "Captain," she said, "what you're thinking of doing, it's going to be incredibly dangerous." Hanwoo nodded. "Yes, it is, but I've got an idea that might just save humanity. It's crazy enough that even the Vorthak won't see it coming." Captain Hanwoo stood in the Defiance's small laboratory, watching Kim Nari examine pieces of wreckage from destroyed Vorthak ships. Over the past month of guerrilla warfare, they had collected samples from every battle. Now those fragments might hold the key to humanity's survival. "This is incredible," Kim Nari said, pointing to a twisted piece of alien metal. "Look at these connection points. The entire ship is controlled by quantum processors that talk to each other instantly across any distance." Park Jin leaned over her shoulder to get a better look. "Quantum entanglement communication. No wonder they move in perfect formation. Every ship in their fleet is connected to every other ship in real time." Hanwoo felt a surge of excitement. This was the breakthrough he had been hoping for. "Show me how it works." Kim Nari brought up a holographic display that showed the internal structure of a Vorthak ship. Glowing lines connected various systems throughout the vessel, all leading to a central node in the command section. "Each ship has a main quantum processor here," she explained, highlighting the central unit. "This processor connects to similar units on every other ship in the fleet. When Admiral Veltar gives an order, it goes instantly to every vessel at the same time. That's why they can coordinate so perfectly," Park Jin realized. "No communication, delays, no confusion, no mistakes. It's like having one giant brain controlling hundreds of bodies." Hanwoo studied the display carefully. The quantum communication network was far beyond human technology, but every system had weaknesses. "What happens if you destroy the main processor on a ship?" "The ship loses connection to the network," Kim Nari said. "It would have to operate independently using only its own crew." "And what if you destroyed the central command node, the one that sends orders to all the other ships?" Kim Nari's eyes widened as she understood what Hanwoo was thinking. "If you could destroy the primary command node, the entire network would collapse. Every ship in the fleet would lose coordination simultaneously." Park Jin shook his head. "Captain, the primary node would be on Admiral Veltar's flagship. That ship is 3 kilometers long and surrounded by the most heavily defended ships in their fleet. We'd never get close enough to attack it." "Maybe we don't need to get close," Hanwoo said thoughtfully. "Kim Nari, could our weapons damage that quantum processor if we could hit it directly?" "Possibly," she said, "but only if we could overload their shields first. And even then, we'd need to hit the exact right spot. The processor is buried deep, inside the ship." Hanwoo left the laboratory and walked to the bridge, his mind working through possibilities. His crew followed, sensing that their captain was developing another one of his impossible plans. On the bridge, Lee Soo was monitoring Vorthak communications as usual. Over the weeks, she had become expert at understanding their language and battle procedures. "Captain," Lee Soo said, "I've been tracking their fleet movements. They're heading for the Tau Ceti system. It's a binary star system with some unusual gravitational effects." Choi Min brought up the star charts on the main display. "I know that system," she said. 2 stars orbiting very close to each other. The gravitational fields create some interesting phenomena. Han Wu studied the chart carefully. What kind of phenomena? Ships entering the system get pulled into stable orbits around the binary stars, Choi Min explained. The gravitational forces are so strong that it takes a lot of engine power to break free. Also, the stellar radiation interferes with most types of sensors. How much engine power? Han Wu asked. For a ship the size of a Vorthak destroyer, maybe 30% of their total output just to maintain position. For their larger ships, even more. Han Wu felt pieces of a plan starting to come together in his mind. He turned to Park Jin. Our engines are more efficient than theirs, right? Much more efficient, Park Jin confirmed. Human ships were designed for long-range exploration. We can operate in conditions that would strand most other vessels. And our electromagnetic pulse generator, Han Wu continued. The one you built to overload Vorthak shields. How close would we need to be for it to work? Park Jin looked uncomfortable. Very close, Captain. Maybe a few hundred meters at most. And it would only work once. The pulse would burn out our entire electrical system. Kim Nari was beginning to understand Han Wu's plan. Captain, you're thinking of using the binary star system as a trap. Exactly, Han Wu said. We lead the entire Vorthak fleet into the system. The gravitational forces lock them into predictable orbits. The stellar radiation masks our approach until we're too close for them to stop us. And then we ram, Admiral. Veltar's flagship, Choi Min said quietly. Destroy the quantum command network and leave their entire fleet blind and confused. The bridge fell silent as everyone realized what Han Wu was proposing. It was a suicide mission. Even if they succeeded in destroying the Vorthak command ship, the Defiance would never survive the impact. Park Jin was the first to speak. Captain, there might be another way. What if we don't ram the flagship? What if we just get close enough to use the electromagnetic pulse and then fire a torpedo at the command processor? Would that work? Han Wu asked Kim Nari. Maybe, she said. If we could time it perfectly. Fire the torpedo just as the electromagnetic pulse disables their shields. But the targeting would have to be exact. We'd only get one shot. Li Su looked up from her communications console. There's something else we should consider. I've been analyzing Vorthak fleet communications for weeks now. I think I know how to find the exact location of their command processor. She brought up a display showing communication patterns within the Vorthak fleet. Every order that goes out has a specific quantum signature. By tracking those signatures, I can identify which part of Admiral Veltar's ship is generating the commands. Can find the command processor from outside the ship? Han Wu asked. I think so, Li Su said. Give me a few more days to analyze the patterns and I should be able to pinpoint its exact location. Over the next week, the crew of the Defiance prepared for their final mission. Park Jin worked on modifying their remaining torpedo, turning it into a weapon specifically designed to destroy quantum processors. Kim Nari calculated firing solutions for a moving target at close range. Choi Min studied the gravitational patterns of the Tau Ceti system, looking for the perfect approach vector. Meanwhile, Han Wu continued his harassment of the Vorthak fleet, but now with a different purpose. Instead of trying to destroy ships, he was herding them toward the binary star system. Each attack pushed the alien fleet slightly off course, guiding them toward the trap he was preparing. Admiral Veltar seemed to realize that the human ship was driving his fleet toward a specific destination. The alien commander began posting guards and sending out scouts to prevent further attacks. But Han Wu had spent weeks learning Vorthak tactics. He knew how they would respond to threats. The final piece of the plan came together when Li Su successfully mapped the quantum communication signatures from Admiral Veltar's flagship. She had identified the exact location of the primary command processor, buried deep in the ship's central section. I've got it, she announced during a crew meeting. The command node is here, approximately 400 meters from the ship's surface. If we can hit that exact spot with our modified torpedo, the entire network should collapse. What are our chances? Han Wu asked. Kim Nari ran the calculations on her tactical computer. Honestly, Captain, maybe one chance in 100. Everything has to work perfectly. The electromagnetic pulse has to disable their shields at exactly the right moment. Our torpedo has to hit a target the size of a small room from several hundred meters away while both ships are moving, and we have to survive long enough to fire the shot. Those aren't very good odds, Park Jin observed. Han Wu smiled. They're better than the odds we faced when this all started. When we first saw that Vorthak fleet, humanity had 0 chance of survival. Now we have 1 chance in 100. Choi Min brought up the navigation display. The Vorthak fleet will reach the Tauseti system in 18 hours. If we're going to do this, we need to get into position soon. Han Wu looked around at his crew. These 4 people had followed him through impossible battles and crazy plans for over a month. Now he was asking them to sacrifice their lives for a plan that would probably fail. I won't order anyone to come with me, he said quietly. This is a volunteer mission. Anyone who wants to transfer to an escape pod can do so. No questions asked. Kim Nari was the first to respond. I'm with you, Captain. Humanity deserves a chance. Same here, Park Jin said. Besides, someone needs to keep the ship running during your crazy stunts. Lee Su nodded. Count me in. I want to see the look on Admiral Veltar's face when his perfect fleet falls apart, Choi Min smiled. Well, someone has to navigate through that binary star system. Might as well be me. Han Wu felt a surge of pride in his crew. They knew they were probably going to die, but they were willing to do it anyway. That was the difference between humans and aliens like the Vorthak. Humans could choose to sacrifice themselves for something greater than their own survival. All right then, Han Wu said. Let's go save humanity. The Defiance changed course toward the Tau Ceti system, following the massive Vorthak fleet. Behind them, the last human colonies. Waited. The Tau Ceti binary star system blazed with brilliant light as 2 massive stars danced around each other in an eternal cosmic waltz. Captain Han Wu watched from the bridge of the Defiance as the Vorthak fleet entered the system, their dark ship silhouetted against the twin suns. They're taking the bait, Choi Min reported from her navigation station. The entire fleet is following the course we predicted. The gravitational fields are pulling them into stable orbit. Admiral Veltar's flagship led the formation, a 3-kilometer monster that dwarfed everything around it. The other Vorthak ships spread out in their perfect formation, maintaining exact distances even as the binary star's gravity began affecting their movement. Just like we hoped, Han Wu said. They're so disciplined that they won't break formation even when physics is working against them. Park Jin monitored the engineering systems as stellar radiation washed over their ship. The radiation is playing havoc with their sensors, Captain, but our shields are holding, the modifications are working. For the past 3 days, Park Jin had been preparing the Defiance for this moment. He had reinforced their shields specifically to handle the intense radiation from the binary stars. More importantly, he had installed the electromagnetic pulse generator that would be their only chance of penetrating Vorthak defenses. Kim Nari studied her tactical display as the alien fleet settled into orbit around the twin stars. They're locked in now. The gravitational forces are too strong for quick maneuvers. If they want to change course dramatically, they'll need several hours to build up enough speed. Perfect, Han Wu said. That means they can't run away when things get interesting. Lee Su was monitoring Vorthak communications, listening for any sign that they had detected the Defiance. They know we're here somewhere, but the stellar radiation is masking our exact position. Admiral Veltar is ordering search patterns, but his ships are having trouble maintaining sensor locks. The Defiance had been hiding in the radiation shadow of one of the binary stars for 6 hours, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Han Wu had calculated everything down to the second. When the Vorthak flagship reached a specific point in its orbit, the ship would be isolated from the rest of the fleet for exactly 90 seconds. That would be their window. Time to target intercept? Han Wu asked. Choi Min checked her calculations. 17 minutes, the flagship will pass through the radiation dead zone right on schedule. Han Wu activated the ship's intercom system. All hands, this is the captain. In 17 minutes, we begin our final attack on the Vorthak command ship. Everyone knows their job. We get one chance at this, so let's make it count. It's been an honor serving with all of you. The next 17 minutes felt like 17 hours. Every member of the crew focused on their preparations, knowing that the fate of humanity depended on the next few minutes. Park Jin ran final checks on the electromagnetic pulse generator. Kim Nari programmed their single modified torpedo with the targeting data Lee Soo had provided. Choi Min calculated the exact approach vector that would bring them within firing range. 2 minutes to intercept, Choi Min announced. Han Wu could see Admiral Veltar's flagship on the main viewer now, a massive dark shape moving slowly through space. The ship was beautiful in a terrifying way, its hull covered with alien symbols and weapon ports. Soon they would either destroy it or die trying. 1 minute to intercept. All systems ready. Take us in, Han Wu ordered. The Defiance burst from the radiation shadow like a hunting bird diving on prey. Park Jin pushed the engines to maximum power, using the binary star's gravity to slingshot them toward the Vorthak flagship at incredible speed. For 30 seconds, they flew undetected through the radiation storm. The Vorthak sensors couldn't penetrate the stellar interference, and by the time they emerged into clear space, it was too late for the aliens to react. Incoming fire, Kim Nari reported as Vorthak plasma cannons began tracking their approach. Multiple ships are targeting us. The space around the Defiance lit up with enemy fire. Plasma bolts streaked past the ship as Han Wu threw them into evasive maneuvers. Several shots hit their shields, causing warning lights to flash across every console. Shields down to 60%, Park Jin called out. I don't know how long they'll hold. We don't need long, Han Wu said grimly. Just get us close enough. The Vorthak flagship loomed larger on the screen, its weapon systems coming online. As the human ship approached, Han Wu could see alien gun turrets swiveling to track their movement, preparing to vaporize the small human vessel. 800 meters and closing, Choi Min announced. 700, 600. Electromagnetic pulse ready, Park Jin reported. But Captain, firing it will knock out all our systems. We'll be helpless afterward. 500 meters, Choi Min continued. 400. Fire the pulse, Han Wu ordered. Park Jin activated the electromagnetic pulse generator. A wave of energy burst from the Defiance, washing over the Vorthak flagship and overloading its shield generators. For a few precious seconds, the massive alien ship was completely defenseless. Shields are down, Kim Nari confirmed. Firing torpedo now. The modified torpedo streaked toward the flagship, carrying humanity's last hope in its warhead. Lee Soo had programmed it with the exact coordinates of the quantum command processor, buried deep in the ship's central section. The torpedo struck the Vorthak hull and penetrated 400 meters into the ship before detonating. The explosion was small compared to the massive vessel, but it was perfectly placed. The quantum command processor vanished in a burst of energy, taking the entire communication network with it. The effect was immediate and catastrophic for the Vorthak fleet. Across the binary star system, alien ships suddenly lost contact with each other. The perfect formation that had conquered dozens of worlds fell apart in seconds. Some Vorthak ships continued following their last orders, flying in straight lines until they crashed into asteroids or other vessels. Others stopped completely, their crews unable to function without constant guidance from the command network. A few ships tried to escape the star system, but the gravitational forces trapped them in decaying orbits. Admiral Veltar's flagship, damaged but not destroyed, spun helplessly through space. Emergency lights flickered along its hull as alien crew members tried to regain control of their ship without computer assistance. The network is down, Lee Soo reported with excitement. All Vorthak ships have lost coordination. They're broadcasting emergency signals, but nobody's responding in an organized way. The Defiance had also been damaged by the electromagnetic pulse. Half their systems were offline and the ship was tumbling through space without power. But they were alive, and more importantly, they had succeeded. Emergency power restored, Park Jin announced. Life support is stable, but we're not going anywhere fast. Through the main viewer, they watched the Vorthak fleet tear itself apart. Ships collided with each other as their crews panicked. Others were pulled into the binary stars by gravitational forces they could no longer calculate or resist. Within an hour, more than half the alien fleet had been destroyed or disabled. Admiral Veltar's image appeared on their communications screen, the alien commander looking shocked and defeated. "Human captain," he said in heavily accented English, "you have destroyed our coordination network. My fleet is in chaos." "That was the idea," Han Wu replied calmly. "How?" Admiral Veltar demanded. "Your species is primitive. Your technology is inferior. How did you defeat the Vorthak Empire?" Han Wu smiled. "Because we're human. We don't give up when the odds are against us. We adapt. We improvise. We sacrifice ourselves for something greater than our own survival. Those are things your empire will never understand." The alien admiral stared at him for a long moment, then cut the transmission. Over the next several days, rescue ships from Earth arrived to find the remains of the once mighty Vorthak fleet scattered throughout the Tau Ceti system. The few surviving alien ships surrendered without resistance, their crews demoralized and leaderless. The Vorthak Empire, having lost their entire invasion force and most of their high command, sued for peace within a month. The aliens who had viewed humans as primitive insects now treated them with wary respect. Captain Han Wu and his crew were rescued from their damaged ship and returned to Earth as heroes. The impossible victory had saved not just humanity, but established them as a major power in the galaxy. Years later, when new human ships explored the stars, each vessel carried the names of the Defiance crew members who had proven that human courage and ingenuity could triumph over any obstacle. Captain Han Wu became a legend, but he always insisted that the real heroes were the ordinary people who chose to stand up when their species faced extinction. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humanity might not have the most advanced technology or the largest fleets, but they possessed something far more dangerous. They had the human spirit, and that was a force that no empire could ever truly defeat. In the end, it wasn't superior weapons or overwhelming numbers that saved humanity. It was 4 people on a single ship who refused to surrender when everyone else said the fight was hopeless. They had shown the universe what humans were truly capable of when their backs were against the wall. The age of human expansion among the stars had begun,